All right. Drake May's the number 3, 2, best case. Jacoby Brissett is the starter. I think that's been made clear. How long, we'll find out. But I think it's the smart decision. What happens if you start 1-5? Do you rush it, or do you have a plan over the summer and you stick with it?
I think you have a plan, but if you're 1-5, at what point do you say, okay, let's get the rookie in there and get him going?
What if he struggles with just still getting the offense under his belt and feeling comfortable?
Well, if he's not ready to go, then you just, stay the course
Okay.
and suck it up. But because once you make that switch to the rookie, if you bench that rookie, then you're done.
Right.
It's like that hunting dog. If you go out there and he looks great running through the fields and pointing and doing everything else, and then all of a sudden that gun goes off and the damn dog runs, and it's because he's gun shy.
What's your comparable hunting dog that quit on you?
That was Gretel. We got Gretel, who was a German short hair pointer, out of the pound. And we took her out in the fields. And when I was living up in Ohio, and she looked great. I mean, she was like a show pony running around pointing.
She was Bryce Young in training camp.
He was Bryce Young in training camp. All of a sudden, we shot a gun, and next mile and a half, we're running around trying to find that dog. It buried itself in a rabbit hole.
I did?
Yeah. So it was myself and my dad, and we're walking back to the car about a mile and a half away. He's got the damn dog on his shoulders. She's shaking like a dog crapping razor blades. I got 2 shotguns looking like Elmer Fudd walking through the woods. That's all, folks.
You know what's funny? That the dog's a hunting dog, but it forced you to hunt her.
Yeah.
So you
that's all we spent. We spent the next hour and a half looking for the damn dog that buried itself in dug its way into a rabbit hole or something.
All right. So hopefully no hunting dogs. No Gretels in this draft class. But your point is that you can't rush them out there.
Right. And when they're ready, and then at some point you just say, if we're going to do it, we're going to go through some growing pains, but we're going to have to live with it, going forward from once we insert them.
I think I don't know. I'll ask you. I feel like college-wise, if you had to win one game, maybe you want Drake Maye over J.J. McCarthy, but I think J.J. McCarthy, if had to start someone on their current team, I would start J.J. in Minnesota over Drake in New England just because of what's around him. That said, I understand why you go with Sam Darnold because, again, no rush there. Who you starting if you need one guy to start?
Between those two?
Yeah.
Well, that's a kind of a hypothetical question.
You love hypotheticals, though.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why you ask me these questions.
I keep asking.
And it keeps irritating me to death that you ask these. Whichever one I think is the most prepared coming out of OTA.
Whichever one's going to win the game.
Yeah.
Are you okay with JJ on the bench?
Yeah, I think when we talked about him, we thought that he was the one that maybe needed to sit. Both him and Maye were the ones that we didn't think were ready to step in right away. So I think they're in both situations are where they have an opportunity to sit and learn. Now, can Kevin O'Connell make Sam Darnold the Baker Mayfield success story that we saw last year with Dave Canales down in Tampa and resurrect his career? But my guess is when you looked at Minnesota's schedule, and it is a brutal schedule. I mean, they start out with the Giants in New York. Then I think they have San Francisco, Green Bay. Then they go to play the Jets in London. Then they come back from London and have their bye week. So if they're 1-4 or under 500 or around 500, they make the switch to JJ McCarthy coming out of the bye when the Detroit Lions come into US Bank Stadium.
Man, did you know that off the top of your head, or are you looking at the schedule?
No, I know it off the top of my head. I try to study when we're not doing these podcasts. I try to read it as much as I can every day.
Were you studying on the golf course when I called you yesterday?
I do take a break every now and then.
You've earned it. Yep, you're right. At the Giants, San Francisco, Houston, at Green Bay, Jets, and then their bye week. And then they come out with the Detroit Lions. Whew, that's a tough road to hoe. That's my grandmother used to say.
So,
but again, we have no idea. Like, we thought the Texans were going to win 3 games last year. We thought Davis Mills might start. No one knows. I do know that Sam Darnold's going to start the season, but how long is the question?
Yeah, and I'm saying that coming out of that bye, and when Detroit comes into US Bank Stadium, that's going to be probably the most opportune time to start JJ McCarthy, unless Sam Darnold was playing like Baker Mayfield did last year and they're in the hunt.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more hypothetical before we move on. Who starts the longest, assuming everyone's 100% healthy? Jacoby Brissett in New England or Sam Darnold in Minnesota?
I'm Jacoby Brissett.
There you go. Was that so hard? All right, let's talk about a quarterback. I don't know why I keep asking these questions.
Because they're dumb. It is. It's really irritating, to be honest with you.
Uh, my dog's pulling your dog. He's barking upstairs. He didn't like that you called me dumb, or maybe he agrees with you calling me dumb. I don't know which one. Let's talk about a quarterback that is going to start, unless I missed the boat on this one. Jayden Daniels is QB1, correct?
Yeah, now, Dan Quinn did not announce him as a starter going into training camp, but there's no question that Jayden Daniels will be the starter. They signed Marcus Mariota as a backup quarterback, and we all know what he is. He's a backup at best. He's struggled every time he's had to start. New regime coming in, new GM, new head coach, new offensive coordinator. They'll do everything they can to get him prepared to start week 1.
So here's something that Dan said recently, talking about Jayden. He's further along than you probably should be, which is that's high praise for this time of year, even though you haven't seen him take a hit, because you can tell whether he knows the playbook or not. There's no doubt that Jayden's making unbelievable progress. It was really clear that he's put the work in. And Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, added he has a really high football IQ. He understands protections. He's been really impressed. I've been really impressed by that. A lot of guys coming in the league, that's not an area they major in college. And part of me wonders how much of that has to do with the work that he did with the virtual reality stuff that we talked about a few weeks ago, in terms of just basically getting extra snaps when you may not get those snaps otherwise.
Yeah, anywhere you can steal reps because of the time limitations you have during the OTAs is going to be an advantage. And the one thing, and just reading through the clips on him showing up at 5:45 every morning to come in and maybe do that virtual reality, to get those extra reps, to do that extra study time, tells you how important it is to him on wanting to be a successful quarterback. Some guys think they could just come in the league and maybe just rely on their natural skills and athletic ability. But the NFL is a whole different level now on what you're going to see on defense, the speed of the game, and the more reps you can get, whether on the field or with virtual reality or whatever you're looking at, hopefully the better you become.
And these veterans, Andrew Wiley, the offensive lineman, has been impressed with the way he's played in the pocket. Terry McLaurin, their best player at the wide receiver position, has been really impressed. And that's what you want to see, because sometimes, and you know this better than I do, a young player will come in and maybe they're not as vocal as perhaps they need to be, or maybe they're not putting in the work, whatever the case may be. It feels like Jayden Daniels is doing all the right things, in addition to being really good on the football field.
It's yet to be determined. I mean, is anyone saying, we have a horse crap football team coming out OTAs and minicamp, we're packing it in?
No.
So everybody's encouraged. Everybody's got a chance to win a Super Bowl. All 32 teams are still in it right now. So I don't know why anyone, or I've never heard anyone ever say that, hey, God, are we bad? This is going to be a rough year coming ahead.
Well, on that note, let's talk about Bo Nix in Denver, who, again, hasn't been named the starter, but it's him, Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson. It feels like Bo Nix is probably going to get an opportunity. Maybe Jarrett Stidham gets red hot in training camp. But let's hear some more positives about the rookie quarterbacks. His communication has been fantastic.
Yay.
So, too, was his accuracy. So there's that. One of the things that came out, and Davis Webb is a quarterback's coach there, the former, I think Davis went to Cal, the former Cal wide receiver, played a little bit in the league. A lot of the completions have been, the ball's been coming out on time at the top of the drop, 3-5 steps, whatever it is. But he did say, we don't want to be checked down Charlies. We want to be aggressive down the field. But if it's not there, we want to keep moving forward. And I think that feels like something we didn't see from Russ Wilson last year and what Sean Payton was looking for. And then we saw the frustration sometimes on the sidelines. So maybe check down Charlie isn't a bad place to start. Get the ball out, even if it's to your check down. And then, what's the old saying? You're not going to go broke making a profit. So just get 1 or 2 yards and keep moving the chains. But to your point, he's not getting hit. There's no pass rush. You're laughing at.
Where'd you come up with that? I've never heard that before.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah. It must have been your financial background before you got as an NFL analyst.
Again, what did you say? You said I was a rich guy or something?
Uh-huh.
Rich guy problems? That's a rich guy problem.
Guy problems. That's a rich guy problem there.
I'm glad you like that. You can use it if you want.
No.
Never go broke making a profit, Rick.
No, I use my other ones.
Okay. But what about the notion of just getting back to basics? Does it matter? It's something different than what we saw with Russ and Sean last year, and just taking the available open wide receiver instead of pushing the ball down the field.
Yeah, well, that was an arranged marriage last year. This
That's
was,
true.
as some people have called it, a Sean Payton arrogant pick because he saw something in Bo Nix that other people didn't see. So he's going to do everything he can and to make sure that this kid has success early. And a lot of that may be some short, quick hitting throws just to get the ball out of his hands to limit some of the progressions and reads that he has to go through. So I'm anxious to see how he progresses during training camp and in some of these preseason games. I know no one gets excited about the preseason, but me and you love the preseason because we get
We
an
do, yeah.
opportunity to first see these guys in actual game action.
Yes, I can overreact about how much I love Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Destroying the preseason. Listen, if Bo Nix wins the job and feels like he's on that course, game 1 at Seattle, game 2 Pittsburgh, game 2 at Tampa, game 2 at New York Jets. So those are, and then game, what's that, 5 at Las Vegas with Max Crosby and that revamped Anthony Pierce team. So he's going to face a lot of good defenses. Not to say they can't win some of those games, but it's not a bunch of tomato cans.
No, no, and he's going to get tested early. So I'm sure that, and all these quarterbacks, it seems like even the Jayden Daniels, they're not sharing reps like JJ McCarthy. I don't know how many first team reps he got, how many first team reps Drake Maye got, because they plan on starting those veteran quarterbacks
Right.
early. But if you're going to play your rookie quarterback, they better be getting as many reps as they possibly can with that first team.